We are joined in studio by Stephanie Erickson. She is a social worker here to talk all about whether or not you are prepared for the cost of dealing with your aging parents. Thanks so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
It is a reality for many of us today, and you say it's a problem that's only going to get worse.
That's right. The demographics are shifting, and in fact, they're predicting that in about 2031, about 25% of the Canadian population will be 65 years or older, and we're already stretched within our public system, so we're going to have more and more problems as time goes on.
I want to start by talking about what public services are available to, for instance, me, whose parents are aging.
Well, the great news is that we have great care in Montreal. We have really good hospital care, there's community care services, rehabilitation, assisted residence, full care residence. The care is great, the personnel is great. Fortunately, there's just not enough of the services to meet the demands.
Right. So what are some of the challenges at these public institutions then?
Well, the institutions themselves are great. It's the wait list to get the care that you need. Now, if you're in an emergency, you can get hospital care right away. That's not a problem. But if you're in the community, for example, let's say my mom is having some memory problems and I need someone to come and give her medication twice a day. I might have to wait 6 months before I can get that type of service in the home environment, and then that puts obviously the responsibility on me.
And a lot of the time, people don't know that their parents need home care until it's in the moment. It's not like you can predict that 6 months in advance and put yourself on a waiting list, right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what it is. For memory loss, it kind of emerges slowly, and usually it's a crisis that sort of mobilizes the family. But if it's let's say a chronic illness, or if it's an acute illness, then we would know immediately, okay, we need care.
In terms of the long-term care homes, what are some of the wait lists? For instance, how long might somebody be on a waiting list?
Well, currently right now we have something called Program 68, and it's a good program in that eventually you end up in a great place with great care. Unfortunately, you start with an evaluation bed, you transition to a temporary bed, and then finally you get your permanent bed. So for seniors who are already exhausted, frail, scared, perhaps they're confused, it's a lot of transitions before you can get that care.
They like being able to have their comfort. You know, they like their routine, right? And that sort of disrupts that.
Yeah, and they're losing control, and other people are making the decision for them, and that's really scary for families.
But can the wait lists be 6 months? Can they be a year?
They can be. Sometimes it depends on where you want to go. There are some residences that have longer wait lists and those that have shorter. Now, if you are in a crisis, there are emergency beds that families can use if they need something immediately, but they may not always get their first choice, and we have to look at culture and language in terms of where you're going to go.
Always, it's family and close friends who are the ones who care for the elderly members of the family, understandably. Let's break down the financial responsibility and the reality for a lot of people.
Okay, so there's two types of financial responsibilities. First of all, for the senior himself. Now, let's say he's in his retirement years, but this is when he needs the most care. Now, if there's a couple and the couple needs to divide, then we're going to have half of the needing to pay for the home care and needing to pay for the residence.
Right.
But when we look at the caregiver, him or herself, their lost wages at work are between $116,000
and
a
here
year.
it's saying 80% of caregivers spend $6,000 out of pocket.
That's right, and they're paying for things like home care services, medication, equipment, personnel. It's very, very costly.
In addition to the financial cost, that again, with those numbers, people should be prepared for those kinds of numbers, up to $16,000 a year.
In lost wages, yes.
But in addition to the financial responsibilities, there is an emotional consequence to it all as well.
There is, for the entire family. So the senior, him or herself, is losing control. Perhaps they're losing their bodily functions, not able to walk in the same way, and they know that they are on the last portion of their life. It's very scary. So there's an emotional cost to them, and if they have to separate from their partner, oh boy, that's really hard for people who've been married for 50, 60 years. Or maybe not so hard if they're tired of doing the laundry of their spouse.
Right.
But
So viewers right now who are watching,
Yeah.
and they're thinking, oh my goodness, my parents are aging in the next 5 years or so. I haven't thought about this, I haven't saved, what can they start doing now?
Well, I would suggest that people think about planning in terms of a pyramid if they need a visual image to help them. You're going to start at the top wedge of the pyramid. You're going to start thinking about family discussions about your values and belief systems. So trying to decide as a family, do you want to stay at home? Do you want to go into a residence? And do you have the funds, and who will take care of you if you want to stay at home?
Right.
The second wedge of the pyramid is going to be your financial plan. So you're going to look at things like insurance products. You want to meet with a financial advisor, an insurance advisor, an accountant, and make sure that you have the funds to pay for your values and belief systems. And the third wedge will be the legal plan that supports everything up above, which includes getting your power of attorney drawn, looking at a mandate in the case of incapacity, a living will, and you'll want to meet with a notary here in Quebec and or an attorney.
Wow. Very interesting stuff. Important things to think about.
Yeah.
Stephanie Erickson is a social worker with Erickson Group.
That's right.
Can you tell us how we can get in contact with you if we want more information?
Sure. You can always go to my website, www.ericksonresource.com, and I'd be happy to help.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome, Camille. Thank you.